Hi, audience. How are you? I mean, really, how are you? It's the end of June, middle of summer, about, because 4th of July is next week. And we're 6 months into this new year. Do you remember January? Do you remember what you said you were going to do? What you were going to look forward to? I know. So, how are you? Yeah, I bet you're thinking about how you're going to answer that. Well, I'm coming to you at the end of June, sort of as a bonus episode in between our episodes with Noah. And I was kind of working on this for several weeks, and multiple things have come at me about topics for this. One, if you don't know who Charles Kuralt is, he has long since passed. But if you don't know who Charles Kuralt is, you should go find out. He is this guy who was on the CBS Sunday News, and he did a segment called On the Road with Charles Kuralt. And as I have been traveling and driving and seeing strange visions, or not, I don't have visions, strange sights, like an airplane on the side of a hill, and I'm thinking, did someone think that was yard art, or exactly how did that get there and why is it still there? I drove to Colorado a week ago, and there's a lot of interesting things along the road. So I was thinking about that. And then I got to thinking, what are the sights and sounds of summer, and are we missing them? And I thought about that because I was golfing last night, and somehow a golf course is this most peaceful place. It's like all the sounds of the world are muffled and you really can't hear them. And then all of a sudden you hear some things, like the sound of kids laughing because they're jumping in and out of a pool, and parents are laughing with them, or people are joking around, or somebody yells four because here comes the golf ball to hit the top of your cart and scare you to death, or there's these really loud birds. And so I got to thinking, what are we doing as these 6 months of the year comes, and we're going to race in, and pretty soon it's going to be Christmas. Yeah. So, in March, I came to you with the quarterly reflection to say, what are you doing? What do you want to start doing? What do you want to stop doing? What do you want to continue? Do you have goals or thoughts or targets or places you want to go in the next few months? Did you accomplish what you thought you wanted to? Is there a habit you wanted to start? Where are you? I've been listening a lot to different voices, different podcasts, different speakers, different reading different books about our humanness and how alone we all kind of feel, and how alone we all kind of are, but we're sort of not. So I got to thinking, if we don't stop and pause and sort of take stock of what the last couple weeks, months have been, we're going to roll through, and it's going to be the end of the year, and you're going to think, where did it go? And you're going to miss stuff. You're going to miss stuff. So that's my 6 month. Where are you? Have you taken a moment? Have you planned something? Or are you just busy running, doing all the things? I really want to talk about the sights and sounds of summer and ask you, are you missing it? Are you missing it? So I've traveled a lot, and I'm about to travel again and drive hours and hours and hours from Illinois to Wisconsin to Omaha. I was in Colorado. I'm headed to Kentucky. And I think about, when I'm driving, if I'm plugged into my phone, or I'm listening to a podcast, or I'm sitting at a stoplight, is my phone in front of me, or a screen, or am I on the phone talking to people? Or am I taking it all in? Like I said, I was on the golf course last night, and had I not paid attention, I would have missed kids jumping in a pool and splashing and laughing, and all I kept thinking was, "Oh, that's what summer sounds like." What about the upcoming cookouts you're going to have next week for the 4th of July? Are there people that you're going with that you don't want to be with because you just usually do that? Is it family members? What about, are there little babies that you're going to see? Or are there new puppies or kittens? Or what are you missing? What do we miss by having our head down? So I was running this morning, and there's a woman in my neighborhood. She delivers the newspapers in her car every single morning. And she is on a mission. I mean, she's on a mission. She's delivering those papers, and you can hear her muffler coming, and she's up and down the street. And every morning that I see her, I wait. But this morning I was crossing a road, I was crossing a street, and she stopped for me, and I waved at her, and I just kind of stopped in the middle of the street, and I bowed and just did this great bow, like, "Thank you very much." And she out the window yelled, "Have a great day," with this big smile on her face. And I thought, you know what? How much of that are we missing? I know I do. Okay, I come to a stop sign, and I know I'm not supposed to be on my phone when I'm driving. So all the police officers listening, I know this, and I'm really working at breaking that habit. When you come to a stop sign, a stoplight, do you automatically pick up your phone and check all the stuff? Okay, what could we be missing? Is there a face? Like, how many times have you seen a dog hanging its head out the window? Okay, I do giggle to myself about that because I think that dog is so happy living its very best life right now because there's 176,000 smells that they can't hardly stand. Are we like that, or have we numbed ourselves to, well, okay. What if we slowed down, and what if we paused? And what if the sights and sounds of summer looked and sounded and smelled different this year for us? What if we did that with our kids? What if we did that with our family members? What if you did that? What would it look like? What story would you tell? What story would you tell? So my son got married in Colorado, and I traveled out there by car, whatever, 2,600 miles, and all the family made it, and some drove, some flew, some went in an RV, and, some of us didn't ride along with them because we were smarter than that. Although they said it had a great time, and everybody still seems to be friends and willing to spend time with each other. But what did they see, right? Have you ever thought about all the fences along the road? How did they get there? I have to laugh. I have a friend who has 4 children, and I swear they have a fence in their backyard because that was her children's work in the summer. They had to stain or paint that fence, whether it needed it or not. Okay, so, there's strategy involved in this. There's strategy involved. So if you are on the road, because I know you are, I see you out there with your baseball traveling and your volleyball groups and your vacations, and people are overseas, and they're everywhere, right? And so think about what you might have already missed. Did you miss watching an interaction with people from a distance? I drove through to get a coffee in my local town, and I think it was a Saturday morning. And normally I would have my head down looking at my phone or whatever while I was waiting in the drive-thru, and I didn't. I looked up, and there was this dad on Saturday morning, and with 2 little kids, and I don't know, they're probably 3 and 5 or 4 and 7, something like that. And one of them was having ice cream or yogurt. And of course, the mom in me was like, oh my God, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Why is your kid having ice cream? And then I thought, because it's Saturday and that's just freaking fun. And the little boy, I couldn't hear them, but I could watch the body language of these kids. And the dad was not on his phone. He was looking at his kids, and there was this, their eyes were connecting with each other, and there was this big smile. And then I saw this kid kind of use his hands, and he went right into the coffee shop and got some napkins and brought them back. And it was just it was like watching this silent movie, people interacting. Other people were sitting there, and you could tell they hadn't seen, two women were sitting, and you could tell they hadn't seen each other in a long time. And there was this friendship rekindled. And then other people were having a very serious conversation, and you could tell it was just by the body language and facial expressions that it was a professional, there was some excitement in that. Where are you missing it? Are there people that you could meet that you could ask questions and say, tell me your story? Like, how did you do that? Or why would you want to learn that? I had a meeting last week with a gentleman who is late 70s, probably just an amazing man, held a high level leadership position at a major university. And we were meeting, and he said, my grandson's going to teach me how to use Chat GPT. And I'm in my head going, I have no desire to learn that. But there's this guy that could just be retired and on a boat. And I said, okay, why would you want to learn that? Oh, for research. And he had all these reasons. And I thought, So it's the end of June. 6 months of this year is over. You can't get it back. You can't get back conversations. You can't get back time. You can't get back any of it. It literally is gone. So what are you going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do differently so that I don't miss the really cool stuff? Because there's some really crazy, weird, interesting stuff, right? Like an airplane on the side of a hill. Like, it's legitimately on I-70 when you go outdoor Colorado. It's just this airplane on the side of a hill. Oh, I've seen cars in yards and like trucks and things like that, but an airplane, I really want to pull over. And do you think I could do that? Do you think if I pulled over and said, hey, could you help me know why and how this thing got here? Yeah. So what if we looked up? Last night on the golf course, I looked up, and the sun, because we're having some there's smoke apparently from Canada coming down to Illinois, and but through it, I could see the sun. Absolutely perfect circle. But if I don't look up, I don't see it. So what kind of fun can you have? I know I've kind of rambled, but maybe I've gotten you to think about it. Maybe you could laugh out loud. Maybe you could, I don't know, affect change, or you could have an interaction that leaves you more positive rather than anxious or dreading whatever's in front of you. So we're 6 months in. What's the next? What do you, if you sit here 6 months from now at the end of the year thinking, oh gosh, well, I didn't or I did? Just finding myself curious. As I'm road tripping, as I'm driving a lot, as I'm meeting new people and approaching some big changes. Are you happy with the last 6 months? Is there something that you wanted to do that you didn't, and then what got in the way? Have you avoided something? So, sights and sounds of summer on the road with Charles Kuralt or Cheryl Mitchell. Maybe I should do a live podcast from my car. Noah's shaking his head probably as he's listening to this, going, "Oh dear God, Cheryl, really? Really?" Okay, so I don't know if that there was a point of this other than just, I want you to think differently. I want you to be curious because the world is a pretty heavy place. If you listen to conversations and people are, man, they're kind of, it's just heavy. But we can change that. So, all right, count the number of dogs that you see having their face out the window as they drive, soaking in all these smells. How many kids can you hear laughing and running up and down the street or jumping in pools? What do you wish you would have done the last 6 months that you're going to do? And do take some time to pause. Do take some time to pause at the end of the 6 months, at the end of the second quarter of this year. Because honestly, we don't get better until we reflect on it and say, oh, okay, this is why. And as always, please rate us, review us, share this. We want to gain traction. I want to know what kind of topics. Noah and I are working on brainstorming for season 2 and what we would like to talk about, what you want to hear from us. But I really do hope you've had a wonderful couple of months and that you're looking forward to what's in front of you and that you're excited about that. And above all, ask yourself the question, what don't I want to miss? And how am I going to make that happen? So happy 4th of July. It is a big celebration. It is important, I believe, to recognize why and how pretty cool this country is. My new daughter-in-law is not from the United States, but she is here and she is embracing and absolutely protective of the United States because she knows what an opportunity it is. So those of us who were born and raised here, let's make sure we pause and be thankful and grateful for those who have fought for us to be able to keep our freedom because, well, without it, you can imagine. So happy 4th of July. Happy second quarter of the year. And thank you for listening as always.